Hello everybody, my name is CulBlu and I'm bringing out this video of me reviewing a board game, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Circadians First Light 2nd Edition. That's right, not the 1st edition, but the 2nd edition. Woo! Okay, alright, so let's go ahead and get talking about this one because I have a lot of things to cover. So first, let me go ahead and get our box out of the way, and then we'll go ahead and get our background music started because you know I love background music here. And, ooh, okay, calm down. There we go. And as far as everything goes, though, this is a Circadians First Light. This is set up for the solo mode against the normal bot. And also, did my camera move? Oh no. Oh no, it's fine. I just bumped it. I'm sorry. Yeah, there we go. This is Circadians First Light, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're looking at. So, as far as we're looking at, let me go ahead and give you a tour of the board. Well, actually, first, let me give you an overview of the game. The general idea of this game is that basically you're converting a lot of resources from one to another to try to earn your victory points. This is a point salad adjacent game. I say point salad adjacent because it's not really, it's a point salad. Yeah, we can call it a point salad. This is like a point Caesar salad. Not like a point like mixed spring salad, you know? But I don't know what the difference between those two are. I don't know if one's more diverse than the other. So a mixed spring salad is more diverse leaves, but my ignorance towards salad aside. This is a game where essentially you're going to be trying to compete in a few different arenas to try to score the most points and try to hobble those together, like I said, to try to give you the most points. There's a few different ways you can earn your points. Those ways are by building yourself out your board here, your research area, your research board. You can do that by building yourself some garages that give you more points as you go up on this little track. You can get yourself some more farms that can give you some more points and some additional resources. You can do negotiations, which is probably one of your biggest source of points here. By basically paying the respective resources for the respective faction here, and that allows you to trade, get some benefits, and you also get some victory points at the end of the game. And then you can also move your harvester around the board to try to get to these spots here on the edge at the end of the game. Because if you are on these spots at the end of the game, you'll earn the secret victory points listed on the back of these, which those will be revealed at the end. On the last round for everybody to see. And additionally, you can also score victory points by building contract cards. Sorry, I have them over here. Building contract cards. And these cards will allow you to score victory points in various ways. Sometimes points for having a certain number of resources. Sometimes points for having a certain type of cards, or just raw victory points in general. And this will usually give you some benefits and some effects. Like this one, for instance. Oh, it's upside down. Like this one, for instance, will give you 5 victory points and then 1 point per 5 water that you have at the end of the game. So these are the different ways you can score points. Now, when playing solo, which is what I play against, I'm going to be playing against a bot, and the bot's going to have a few different actions it's going to do. It's going to do things in a few special ways, and it's also going to cheat, because the bot cheats. Have I won against the bot? I can't disclose here because I have a playthrough that's posted on the internet, but just know that me and Zhao here have a rivalry going. You know, we go tit for tat. Sometimes I'm like, haha, I got you, and then he's like, haha, I got you, and we just go back and forth. So take that how you will. The main thing that you need to know, though, is that there are a few different arenas that we're engaging in. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different places that we can kind of place our dice, because this is a dice placement game, and those 10 different places will allow us to kind of do different things, get different bonuses, buy different buildings, and move different things around the board. So instead of being very vague about what I'm talking about, let's go ahead and try to continue with our teach here, and then we'll get into my review towards the end, where I'll talk about things that I liked about this game, things I didn't like, and then get my overall rating at the end. So feel free to use the timestamps to skip around if you need to, but just for now, I'm going to go ahead and just basically run through the first round or two of the game so we can kind of see how it plays and then move from there. So going with setup, though, feel free to check out my playthrough video where I did the setup and I kind of explained a little bit more detail. But for now, just know that the bot's going to need 4 dice starting here, and they're going to have their deck of cards, which I'm going to give a shuffle. And then for me, the player, I'm going to need to shuffle the contract deck, and I need to draw 5, keep 3. When you're playing multiplayer, you're going to be drafting these cards to get 3 total. But for solo, I'm going to draw 5, keep 3. That's what the rulebook said, so that's what I'm doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's kind of my starting options here. And I was going to pick 3 randomly because it doesn't matter that much. Let's see, let's do that one, and sure, that one. Okay, cool. All right, so we got my contracts. I threw the rest of them out of the game, and we got our starting 3 dice. We need our starting resources as well, which everybody's going to have their own player shield here. So when you're playing multiplayer, there will be a phase in the game where you need to kind of hide your information, hide your decisions from everybody. So this shield is going to be blocking your board, and you can use it to kind of like put your dice where you need to put, because you need to assign your dice in different places, so you don't want people to know what you're going to do. And then once everybody's done, you reveal it, and then everything's locked in. So for here, though, there's a player aid on the back, so I'm going to use this for that. So I get 3 dice, 3 contracts, 15 water, so I'm going to grab 15 water. Now, these big water droplets are going to count as 5. These small ones are 1s. Then I'm going to get 4 algae. Again, there's big and small algae, but I'm going to just grab 4 small ones. And then I need 2 energy. There we go. My starting resources are down, and I have a character. Everybody's going to have a character they're playing as. I'm going to be playing as Borg and Sal. Just know that Borg and Sal, they have a special ability, which is this little this Sal here. This allows me to send Sal to different places to kind of activate spots, but I cannot send Sal to the negotiation board, and I cannot send Sal to the depository. I can send Sal anywhere else, though. Like on my farm, I can send him over there, I can send him over there. Any other place I want to go. Sal will always be a 3, cannot be increased, cannot be decreased by anything. And that's what my character's ability is. So that's what this little thing is. So a few things to talk about in this game as far as our board state. Looking at our board, you'll notice that down here we have some reminders. We can have a max of 8 of these cards, these contract cards in our hand. And we can have a max of 5 dice total. Now, Sol does not count towards my dice total, so I currently only have 3 dice and I have 1 Sol of 3. So that's what that means there. Additionally, looking at our board here, I'm not going to zoom in, I'm going to keep the camera where it is, but over here at this top area we have our garages. So we will be placing our dice up here to kind of send them out into the world and do stuff, but these are our garages. And then down here at the bottom, these are our farms. These farms will allow us to place our dice here instead of putting them or sending them out into the world, and that allows us to do things like get extra resources at the harvest phase and give us some additional stuff. Speaking of the harvest phase, we have our harvest marker here. We're the blue player, so there's ours. And this will be moving around the planet as we go, and then during the harvest phase, we'll be gaining the resources that are in my little selector there. So we'll be moving our little marker around to try to gain resources for our future benefit and try to get into a better position. And additionally, at the end of the game, if we place our harvest marker on one of these outer edges, we'll score the respective number of victory points listed here. These are secret information. There's the points range from 4 victory points on the lowest to 8 victory points on the highest, but these are points nonetheless, so you do want to try to gain one if you can. But you have to be on the corner to get it, and you'll notice that on the corner you'll be able to get yourself 1 gem resource, which is not bad, but it's not great compared to what some other stuff you can get. And this spot here gives you a die, so you get 1 gem and one red gem and 1 die. Comparatively, if you go here, you'll get 20 water, which is a ton, and the first person to go to the spot will gain that 1 gem and so on and so forth. Okay, so we'll talk about more of the game as we go along, but just know that there's, like I said, a few different places that we can interact with, and I'll try to interact with all of them in my first round or two as we go. But for now, we are playing solo, so we will go ahead and follow through everything, starting with my preparation phase, or the planning phase. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my dice, and I want to roll them, and then I'm going to decide where I want to send them. Either put them in the garage in the order that I want to put them in, from left to right, that's very important, or send them to my farm down here, so they can try to gain me resources on my board later. So I'm going to roll, and I rolled a 6, a 4, and a 2. Now the dice values matter for a lot of different reasons. Each different location will give you different things that the dice do. So let's go ahead and try to use a very simple one, which I guess we'll use the foundry. So for the foundry, these are different garage areas that we can purchase, and we can add these to our board. The purchase cost for any of these is going to be either 2 energy or 10 water here on the 1 to 2 player side. And then additionally, well, it's fine, we'll just leave it. Additionally, well, okay, fine, we'll take this one out. No, we'll leave it. Sorry, this is one from the expansion. I'm not playing with the expansion stuff, except for the ship tiles and the garage and the farm tiles, but they're all kind of mixed in there, and I didn't take them out. So this is an expansion one. Just know that little symbol is in the expansion for the specialist expansion. This came from the specialist expansion too, but I'm keeping it in because it's fun. All right, anyway, go back to what I was saying though. I can go here, I can put any die here, and then I spend either 2 energy or 10 water, and then when I do, depending on the dice value that I put here, determines which garage I can take from. And when I take from the garage, I take just basically the top one. So if I really want this one, it needs to send a 5 or 6, essentially. Moving over here to here in the laboratory, it is very similar to the foundry, except for you have to spend 2 dice of the same value. So you have to spend 2 3s, 2 2s, 2 4s, 2 6s, you know, doubles. And when I do that, I will have to pay the cost here, and then I will be able to take one of these farms and add it to my area down here, my play area down here, and then it gives me an interaction later on, depending on what kind of farm it is. All right, so that's another area. Over here is going to be the mining camp. Mining camp, I can send a dice value, and then what I do, if I put a dice value here on this right side, it's going to be X minus the dice value, and then I have to pay that much water. So what I mean by that is if I put a 3 here, then I need to have, it's going to be 3 minus 6, so it's going to be 3 total, so that means I need to pay 3 water. I need to pay the leftover to get the 6. If I put a 2 here on this left-hand side, instead, this is going to be x equals 16, so it's going to be 16 minus 2 is going to be 14. That means that I need to spend 14 water to get 2 gems. I only get 1 gem on this side, I get 2 gems on that side. So the higher dice value you can put over here, the better, essentially. So that's how the mining camp works. Over here for control room, and all these spaces have the same design language, but essentially the first person to place their die there locks it out for everybody else. So if I put my die here, then it locks out for anybody else for the remainder of that round until the end of the round when we do cleanup. So first come, first serves type situation. Over here in control room, these are 3 different spots, and if I put my die here, then I can spend either 2 energy or 10 water to move my harvester based on this little reticle here. So if I put this 4 there, for instance, let's assume I pay for it, then I get to move my harvester in this direction, down 1 space. You always move 1 space exactly when you move the harvester there. The bot is going to be different, but that's what a normal person does. And of course, the die value is going to tell you where you go. Over here on the market, this is a trade conversion of this resource into that resource, or that resource into this resource in either direction. And the pip value, the dice value that you put here is going to determine how many times you can trade in that one sequence. So if I put a 4 here, that I can trade 4 different times. If I put a 2 here, I can trade 2 different times, so on and so forth. Over here's the academy. The academy allows you to gain dice. And the way you gain dice will be essentially place one of the dice face values here. You can put a 6 here, you can put a 1 through 3 here, you can put a 4 or 5 here, and then you pay the respective resource in the column. If you pay the top value, you get 1 die. If you pay the bottom value, you get 2 die. And you can never have more than 5 dice, so be careful about how many dice you have. And that's how that works. Now, next is going to be the headquarters and depository. I'm going to skip the depository completely. I'm also going to skip the negotiations area completely. But we're going to talk about the headquarters. Headquarters allows me to kind of put a dice there for future turns. So I can take a die and put it here in one of these spots, starting with the first, going up to 4th. So the first person to do it goes here, second person to do it goes there, 3rd, 4th, so on and so forth. And these dice can be used these dice will be used on the next turn. The benefit of the headquarters is that while you don't get to use the dice for this round, you do get 2 things. One, you get either 2 additional contract cards back into your hand, or you get 5 water, which is good. And secondly, when the next round comes around, these dice will be placed first, as in we'll do our dice roll, we'll decide where we're going to assign things, and then once that's done, before anybody else goes, we're going to do our headquarters, starting with 1st, then 2nd, then 3rd, then 4th, and they're going to be able to place their dice like normal on the board, the dice that are here specifically, and then after that's done, then we'll go in turn order, continue with everybody else, based on normal turn order rules. So it's going to be very beneficial for doing some stuff. Okay, I mentioned a depository. I was going to skip that, so I'll talk about it now. Depository allows you to build cards that are in your hand. When you do, you got to place a dice value that's of the appropriate value here in the column. Of course, first come, first serve. And once you do, so if I put a 4 here, like so, then that will allow me to gain 1 extra dice. And in order to do that, I must be able to build one of my cards, so I can build this card out of my hand. And that'll give me some victory points at the end of the game, and sometimes some effects or some abilities that let me do cool things, which is nice. But the primary thing that you need to know is that when you put a dice up here, it's stuck there forever. And that's the same for the negotiation board. For the negotiation board, you can put a die up here. You don't have to build anything, but you can put a die up here. You pay the corresponding resource. So let's say I put a 2 there. I need to pay 5 gems, and that'll give me 12 victory points at the end of the game. Additionally, we'll look down here for the benefits. I forget what this is called, but the good side, and the first person to do it will be able to move this marker for the 2, because I placed a 2, and I get to put it in any one of these spots. Let's say I want to put it there. That's going to allow me to gain any one of these for free. And that's it. That's not my benefit. Now, the secondary part is that if you meet one of these conditions, so let's say the next person puts, or sorry, let's say I put a 6 here next. So I put a 6 here, I get one of these, which is great. So I get this, and I get to pull one of these. So woohoo, look at me go. But if you look at this, 6 plus 2 is 8, and that's greater than or equal to 8. That means I'm gonna have to take this, and I have to put this in one of the consequences spots. So I can put it, I had to put it into a spot to where I have the ability to lose a thing. So for here, you're gonna move your harvester back towards the center, one space. If my harvester's at the center, that means I can't put it there, but I can put it here. That's gonna cause me to lose this. It's gonna go out of the game forever. So that's the consequence side. So that's one of the cool things. Now, the cool thing about consequences, besides the fact that they suck, the cool thing about consequences is that if you match multiple of these, you have to choose one of them to do, and that can sometimes help you kind of, you know, make it harder for your opponent to do stuff. And each column is going to be counted separately, so the numbers for all these are still going to count for everything. So the first person to put a 1 over here is going to cause you to move the 1. The first person to put a 3 over here is going to cause you to put a 3. So if I put a 3 over here, is following the person who put a 3 there for the first time, I won't get to move the marker again. You know, it's the first person to put one of these 1 through 6 on this board essentially gets that. And now for these also count for the columns individually. So if I put a 3 here, it won't trigger this. Sorry, if let me get another die. Let's say my opponent put a 6 over here, then this will not be 6 plus 6 plus 2 equaling 14. That would not mean that they'll need to move this. Instead, this is its own column. So this is currently 6. That's all it is. So that means it's less than 8. So therefore, nothing is going to happen here for that person. All right, I just want to explain that part. Okay. All right, I rolled my dice. I think this is my original dice value. So we're going to go ahead and start. So I rolled my dice already. We got my resources, and I'm going to go ahead and go through the play. The flow of play when you're playing solo is different from multiplayer. So I will explain with solo. So first thing I did was I did my planning. Or first thing I do is I roll, and then I'm going to do my planning. So let me go ahead and do my planning. I think I said I did my planning, but I didn't finish it. So put these back. All right, I got to play where I want to do stuff. So these dice will be going from left to right. Every time I kind of go through these higher boxes, you can see here that I will have to pay some additional resources. So given that I have a 6 here, sorry, before we start, I almost forgot. That's in the wrong spot. 1 second. Okay, there we go, that's better. Also, we have an event. Sorry, I forgot to do this beforehand. So we have an event. So this event, we're going to flip. There's 2 different types of events. There's good events and bad events. This is a bad event. This is water tax. So headquarters does not reward water or contract cards. So when I put a die up here, normally I would get a 2 contract cards or 5 water. So in this case, water tax says that when I do put a die here, I get nothing for this round. So that's going to be that. That's also our timer. So once that deck runs out, essentially, then the game will be over. So the game will last exactly 7 rounds. So I got to keep that in mind. All right. So now with that condition in play, I'm going to continue with what I was doing before. I'm going to put this down here so I can plan. I'm going to put that there on the, well, put over here, get some algae. And I'll have to commit to this later. I don't have to commit to what that is now, either water or algae. But later on, I'll be able to commit to it. I'm going to put this die here, and I'm going to put this die here. Because I have Sal. So what I'm going to do in my turn, what I plan to do, is I plan to use my first turn to try to gain myself a laboratory. Now the reason why is because I want to have a few extra abilities. I hopefully want to get the kelp over here. This is going to allow me to get 2 extra, 2 algae, I keep calling it kelp, but 2 algae for free during the harvest phase. So I really want to try to get that. And I also want to try to focus on moving my harvester as well, because I want to try to move it a little bit. So I want to move this maybe down here on the floor to try to move towards that gem. I also really want to move over here towards these gems, but I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted about where I want to go. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. All right, here we are. I'm locking in with this. So this is going to let me get the 3 that I need, so I can have double 3s to go here, and then I'll be able to buy one of those spots, which is good. And then I'll have the 2 to go over here in the control room, and I'll be able to move this over towards my goal of this spot over here, which is where I want to go. All right. So we've established that I'm doing all those things. So let's go ahead and oh, actually, I might want to try to build this first. Ooh. Huh. Yeah, this is nice. This allows me to spend 5 less water when I do the control room. Oh, that's strong. Okay, hold on. I take it back. Man, I changed my entire mind. All right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna keep this, move this over, and put that there. How about that? Is that good? Huh. Well, hear me out. Hear me out. If I get this spot for here, so if I get that 6, then that lets me reduce the cost even further. Oh my gosh, man, we got so many good choices. All right, you know what? I can't do everything at once. I'm gonna try to commit to this particular plan, so it's gonna move. Okay, so now we're done. Now that I'm done, we're gonna go over into the action phase, so it's called, into the execute phase, I'm sorry. So now we're gonna remove our screens, reveal this to everybody. We're gonna send dice from the headquarters first, nothing to send, and then we're gonna send dice from the garages. Now, the bot is always gonna go first, which is rude, but that's what happens. So first we're gonna flip a card for the bot, and when we do flip a card for the bot, we're gonna put this card under this column here. Now this column is gonna be cut off, the card's gonna be cut off so you can't really see it. Actually, I can move the camera over, hold on. Let me position that first before I switch over to it, so we can get a better look at it. See, that's good. There we go. All right, so we'll flip over to it. And what we're looking at here is we're looking at the bot side. So essentially this card's going to go here like this. Now when this card does go here like this, what's going to happen is that we're going to look at the number. It's going to be a 3. And we're going to set the bot's rightmost die to a 3. And then we're going to do, well, before we do that, this first spot is very special. We're going to move the bot's harvester. So when we move the bot's harvester, we're going to move the bot's harvester as far as we can in that direction that it's pointing to. So we're going to move the bot's harvester as far as we can here until it hits a gym, the edge, or right before it hits a corner cache. I think it's called a gym cache. So the bot's going to move all the way down here and pick up this. So it's going to stop right there in that spot and pick up that red gem. Now the bot will only pay for things with red gems. It will only do things with red gems. That's why if you look at the card over here, you see it has all red gems because they're going to spin things in red gems. That's what they do. That's how they exist. So let's go ahead and continue. We finished the harvest action, we finished the harvest part, and they're only going to do that on the first one. And the bot's always going to take 2, possibly 3 actions. It just really depends on what happens here. So the bot is done. Now we're going to go ahead and do this action with that 3. So we're going to take this 3, and we're going to put this in the depository. So let's bring it over to our wide view. So we're going to put this in the depository under the 3 spot. And then the bot's going to pay for the resource. Now the bot can't afford it because the bot has to pay 1 gem. Then the bot's instead going to move to the next action and do that. If the bot can't do that, it's going to move to the next action and do that. If for some reason it can't do that, it's going to end up doing nothing. So in this case, the bot did have enough to pay the 1 gem and it's done. That's it. That's it. Now the bot's going to draw 1 more card because they're going to place 2 actions, like I said before. They're going to turn this next die into a 6, and they're going to try to negotiate over here for as much as they can. Well, the bot will always pay gems. So what I mean by that is that we'll always look here for the cost, but we'll look to where they want to go. So the bot wants to put their cube or put their dice here in this column, right there. But they're going to pay the price based on what the Jaria says there. So if they had 5 gems, then they would be able to put their die here by spending 5 gems. So just explain that how that works. You'll be able to see more of that in action as we go along. All right, but they can't afford it, so therefore they're going to try to instead put that die on this spot. Now this is where it's important to make sure the die value is correct. So we're going to take that 6 and put it in the spot that's a 6, specifically for the academy, and the bot's going to gain 2 dice. And that's it. So now we're done. And again, we're only going to execute 2 actions. We will sometimes do a third once they have this. Oh, sorry, not sometimes. We will do a third once they get this last spot open. And there's a circumstance where they'll also do this over here, but that 4th action we won't look at right now. That doesn't happen. That's only whenever they put a die over here in the foundry, they will draw another card to do a different action somewhere else too. All right, so that's all done. So now the bot's done until the end of the round, and now I just get my unlimited turn at this point. So now I'm going to go ahead and do my unlimited turn. So we're going to start. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my double 3s here, like I said before. And we're going to go over here into the laboratory. I'm going to use Sol and this die. Now, anytime you're going to pay a double, I do want to explain this properly for a normal player. Just notice this is a 4. First and foremost, this first spot is a plus or minus 1. This allows you to plus or minus the dice value in this particular garage. So that's why I changed this from a 4 to a 3. Secondly, let me use the red die here. Well, let me use the spare die. If I were, if I didn't have Sol, If I didn't have Sol, and let's say I had this extra die here already, let's say hypothetically this is my board state, and I wanted to put something here in this double spot, what I would need to do is I would need to first, plus or minus, I'm going to minus this by 1 from a 4 to a 3, and then I would need to put this here. Now, if I were to do that, you notice that I need to have 2 dice, and I can only place 1 dice at a time. So instead, what's going to happen is we're going to look at my next spot, and it must be the matching number, and then I'll bring this along with it. I'll have to pay any cost, so I pay 1 algae, and it goes to the supply, and then I get to do everything else that it says up here. So that's what will happen normally. Now in this case, because I have Sol, I kind of get a little bit of a cheaty way to do this because it's my superpower here. So I'm going to send Sol with that 3. And remember, Sol can't change his value. He cannot change his value, so therefore he will always be a 3. So we're going to change that to a 3. We're going to go both up here. Just head over to the laboratory, convince them to send us one of the things. So now we need to pay 3 algae or 10 water. We're going to decide to pay 3. Oh man, that's expensive. Shoot, I wasn't planning on that. All right, well, here we go. First roadblock. We're going to choose to spend 3 algae. All right, now that we did that, we're going to move this down. We're going to choose which one. So for here, we get to choose whichever one we want. For over here, it's going to be locked to whatever dice we place. So we're going to choose this one. Then we reveal the next one. And that's done for that. Now, normally in another turn, normally in a multiplayer game, the next person's turn will start, and they would do the thing, place their 1 die, and then kind of move around the board, rotate around the board until everybody's done placing all their die. But since I'm playing solo, my turn continues. So now I get to move this next one. So the question is, do I want to? What would I do with that? I think I was going to use that to do... Oh yeah, because I was kind of going back and forth between moving my harvester down this way, and I guess I can move it this way or I can move it sideways. I'd rather move it over there. So in that case, what I'm going to do is I got the energy I need to pay for this, so I need to convert these resources. I want to put this over here, and this allows me to trade up to 6 times based on this conversion chart. So I have 15 water, and I don't think I need any water here, so what I'm going to do is I do need some more algae because I'll need to spend 2 algae to deploy that die. Oh, also, hold on. Alternatively, I could put it here. Oh, that's what I was going to do. No, because I need the algae. If I don't get the extra algae, I won't be able to deploy this die anyway. So I need to send this die over here to get more algae. It would be nice to grab this ship, which is what I was originally wanting to do. But the problem with that is that I'll be able to place, or I would have to place it here, because you have to place your ships, your garages, and your farms from left to right. So I would have to place it here, so it won't be useful this round anyway. And then on top of that, I wouldn't be able to deploy this die, and I'll be pretty sad. So we're going to use this as a conversion, and we're going to convert that into, we're going to convert water, and we have 6 conversions, so we're going to do 2 of our conversions from 6 water out of 10, so we get 4 water back. So these are our 4 water back, and we're going to get ourselves 4 algae. There we go. 2, 3, 4. So now we got 5 total, and we have more trades that we can do if we want to. I mean, I could convert some more water. I don't think I need the water. I'm gonna gain some water here. So yeah, I'll do 2 more conversions. I'm gonna do 3 of these water into 1 energy, and then I'll do 3 more into another energy. Oh, should just do 6, huh? Yeah, I think that'll set me up. So I got 3 of those. I got 1 more of these. Done. Okay. So that's it. My conversions, I'm not going to use the rest of my conversions, so we're finished. And now we're going to move to our last one, so we got to pay 2 algae for this one. So we pay 2 algae. Then we move over to here. We're going to spend 2 energy to activate our harvester. And we're going to move in the 2 direction, which is this way. Boop. And that's it. So we are now all committed, and yeah, we're done. All right, so now that we're done, we're going to do our harvest phase. So for our harvest phase, what we're going to do is we're going to gain resources from farms and from harvesters. So this happens simultaneously, but for right now, my harvester is going to get me 6 water. and the bot does not gain any resources this way. The bot just chills out. Alright, after that's done, return all dice from their stations. So return all dice from our stations to the board. And solve. And note that this die is going to be gone forever, so the bot just gets this one back. And then afterwards, we're going to gain our resources. So for the bot, we're going to follow this. So we did our harvest. Yeah. So the bot would have returned a dice first and then gained their stuff. They're going to gain resources based on where this is at. So it's currently at 3 because they have dice filling up all the spots. And then we're going to reset. So they're going to gain any dice. If they do, they don't, because they only. Let me explain this better. The bot would only gain dice if they have less than 3 dice. So they would gain 1 extra because that's going to gain them 1 extra. If they had only 1 die for some reason, they would gain 2, and that's how that works. So in this case, they gained 3 gems because they had enough dice to do so. And then afterwards, we're going to gain dice. If there's any dice to gain, there is none. And now we're going to destroy the highest stack here. So destroy that one, and then destroy this one. If there's a tie between 2 stacks, because remember I took this middle one, if there's a tie between 2 stacks, we destroy the leftmost one. And there was a tie for all 3 here, so that's why we killed that first one there. Alright, that's it. So we're done with the round. So now we move on to the next round, and I'll explain more as we go. I'm going to try to do a build here in the depository, but we're going to flip over our card. Oh man, another bad one. You must discard 1 contract card when sending a dice to the depository. Wow, that sucks. And that's what I want to do this round. Remember, the bot doesn't have to do any of that. That's kind of rude, but hey, it's a game we play. Alright, we're all there for the next rounds. Oh, I was supposed to get 2 algae for this building. It's a passive building, which is nice. Alright, so 2 5s and a 3. And I got Sol here, of course. I think I want to do another building then, because I can get that 3-pointer. That'd be nice. And I got a lot of algae coming in too. I might be able to get some free water. Oh man, there's a lot of good stuff out here. Alright, so I'm going to try to plan for that. So I'm going to put a 3 here. So I can do that plus Sol and send them up there. Ooh, you know what? Alright, I lied. We're going to go this way because we're gonna go here. So we're gonna make that a 2, but we're gonna put these 2 here so we can try to get that laboratory still. And then we can use Sol for something else. We can use Sol to kind of fill in the gaps if we need to. We can even use Sol to move us down here if we have enough resources, but we'll see what we end up with. Now remember, I do still want to build this hydraulic core, because if I do, then it makes my control room actions way cheaper. And I cannot send Sol to the depository. That's the thing that hurts me. So I need a 2 to go here. Now if I do 3 and then 3 again, man, that's horrible. It's horrible. See, what's horrible is that I want to go here, so I can pick up this gem and then do some stuff, but I don't have that opportunity now with my current layout. My dice have not diced correctly for me. But I want to build this hydraulic core because it saves me a lot of money. Saves me on water too. Okay. All right. Here's my decisions. You can kind of see the decision space growing out here. So I'm going to use this to act as a 3 to send it to there, so I can build that. Oh, actually, hold on. Yeah, because if I just get one of these, it doesn't matter. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna shift this a little bit. We'll do that, and then I'm gonna use Sol plus this 3 to kind of do the thing I want with the laboratory. And then I'm going to use this one to do some other stuff. So this will allow me to build from there. So I need 2 of these and 5 of those. So it's going to help me save a lot of resources. And then it won't give me the 2 that I want, which kind of sucks. But I will get a free move anyway. And then I can kind of do some other stuff. So we're going to commit to this. Actually, I'm going to move this down here, because I feel like I'm going to run out of resources faster than I'm planning on it. All right, so we're committed to this. So we're now done. Now the bot's going to go because we're at the end of our planning. We're on the execute phase. So we reveal our screens. We send dice from the headquarters. There's none. And now we will activate the bot. Oh, sorry, I forgot to clear their cards. Go. There we go. So they're going to do a 5. And they're going to move their harvester on the 5. So they're going to go as far as they can over until they hit a gym, or until they get right before a gym cache on the end. So they're going to go whoop right here and pick that up. Like so. And now they've done that, they're going to try to negotiate on this area using as much, or spending as much money as they can. So they have 4 gyms, so they're going to go to 4 gym. They're going to put their cube on that spot. So they're going to put a 5 there. Boom. They're going to spend these 4. And they're going to have 7 points at the end of the game. And now we're going to move their 5 here. Now whenever the bot activates the spot, they're going to just move it over to the leftmost spot. And they're going to kind of progressively move up as they go. So that's how they do that. And now they're all done. So now we draw 1 more card, and they're going to do a 5, and they're going to try to put this 5 in the depository. They can't because they don't have any gems. They don't have any gems available, so therefore they're going to cancel out to the next action. The next action says they're going to put this over here into the foundry, and I don't think that burns a card, does it? Let me see. Let me double check something here in the rules. 1 second. I feel like it does burn the card, because otherwise it'll be kind of silly. It just says, when sending a dice to the thing, immediately turn over an additional scheme card and resolve as normal. This scheme card should be placed on the 4 spots. Turn. Okay, well, it doesn't say burn a card, so I'm not going to burn a card. So therefore, that is going to go here. And we put a die there, so it's going to block me from there. And now they're going to draw 1 additional card, because that's what this, this little symbolism there means. And they drew this one, so they're going to do a 3. And they're going to try to negotiate here, but they can't afford it, so therefore they're going to do this one instead. So they're going to take that 3 and send it right there and get 3 gems. Man, what a jerk. That's what they did last time. So as you can see, they kind of played more than 2 cards because, you know, just kind of keeping me on my toes here. But it's fine. I have no cares. Alright, so now we're done. We're going to go ahead and go over here. We're going to go to the depository. Because of the event, we gotta pay a contract card. We gotta discard a contract card to go here, which really sucks. But, hey, it's a game we play. So I'm gonna throw this one away. So it's gonna go out of the game. And I place that there. Now remember, for me to do this, I must be able to build a card. And I can build this card, so I will build this card. So it's gonna be a 5 plus 2. Now, anytime I go to the control room, it's gonna be cheaper. And in addition to that, because I went in this first row, I will get to move this for free anyway. So any direction that I choose, like so, I get a gem. And look at that, living large. Got my resources all kinds of mixed up here, but I'm living large. All right, now that that's done, I have my next action here. And when we establish that my next action, I'm gonna go ahead and try to send Sol up here along with the resource. Can I afford it is the question. No, I can't. Wow, that sucks. Because I need to spend 1 algae here, and I only have 3. And it's cost me 3 algae or 10 water, and I have neither. That's unfortunate. Was not planning on that being a problem, but what I can do is I could spend 1 algae, send it here, spend 2 energy, and then get that other gem. So we're going to do that. Oh, actually, hold on. If I'm going to do that, let me send Sal. So I can send... took my spot. They took my spot? Yeah, okay, we're committing. So we're going to spend 1 algae to deploy that from the garage. And then we're going to spend 2 energy to move our harvester down, diagonally down, like so. We get that for ourselves. And then, now, there's no benefit in just kind of hanging out here. If I do have my harvester here early, I can peek at it. Actually, let me check the rules for that before I say some stuff I'm not allowed to say. I'm pretty sure I can. Check. Yeah, players may move their harvester into gym caches. Doing so does not allow them to... Oh, never mind. Doing so does not allow them to flip or look at the other side of the tile. Unrevealing gym caches produce... Oh, unrevealed gym... Okay, well, I lied. Well, I was heckin' bamboozled. It didn't matter anyway in any of my games, so cool. All right, so yeah, I was under the impression you could look at this early, but no, it's not true. All right, well, there we go. Me a fibber. I'm glad I checked the rulebook, so I wasn't going to give bad information. Continuing though, we moved that because of this. We paid our resource for that, and now we are continuing. We got Sal left, so Sal. I can send Sal to trade. Oh, I was gonna send him to get a gym. Yeah, I want to go up here and get a gym. So we're gonna spend 3 water because Sal is a 3. So 3 minus 6 is 3. So I spend 3 water, and that's gonna give me 1 gym. So I'm getting some good conversions here. And that's done. I'm all committed. I'm all out. I'm all tapped out. Now we're going to the harvest phase. So for the harvest phase, I'm going to gain my resources. I get to choose for my farm. This is a 5, so it's going to be 5. I'm going to choose that as I can do energy and get myself 2 energy, or I can get water. I'm going to do energy. I'm going to get 2 energy. So let's convert it. That's done. I also get here, so I get 15 water and 2 algae. And all my dice return home. So this one comes back home. That one is stuck there forever, like the bot did. So did I. And that is it. And the game continues on and on and on until you are done. I'm not going to play another round, but we're just going to go ahead and leave it at that. Hopefully it gives you enough of a look of how the game flows so we can finally get into the review part of things. So we can talk about things that I liked, things that I didn't like, and talk about my rating overall. So as far as this game goes, I do think this game is a very interesting resource dice placement, like hodgepodge of things, point salad situation. It is one of those kind of games where it's like the more I play it, the more I'm like, I'm just kind of thinking about it more and more, and that's always good. I have had a history of games now, and recent history of games. Those games being, what's the name of the game? I can see it from over here. After the Virus, World Order, and there was one more. Bomb Busters. So those 3 games basically grew on me as I went. So let me explain a little bit more. This game is a game that I think is good in the sense that it gives a really good puzzle. It takes a little bit to kind of get into, and once I finally get the rules correct, which is very important for all those games I mentioned plus this one, things flow a lot better and things feel a lot better. So the reason I mentioned those 3 games earlier of World Order, After the Virus, and Bomb Busters is because when I played those 3 games initially, very first game, opening up the game, fresh off the press, just took a shrink wrap off. When I first played those games initially, I played it wrong, as one does, because speed reading through the rulebook doesn't really work, so you shouldn't do that. And I also didn't want to watch other videos to kind of get biased as to what people's perspectives or opinions were on it, because I know learn to play videos are out there, but also bleeding edge sometimes, especially in the case of World Order. I had to go learn that one myself too, and struggle through it myself with the forums. But I play them, and I wasn't moved. I wasn't wooed. I felt like I should have been wooed by those games, and I wasn't. And then I went back with my friends, read the rule books a little bit more clearly, talked about the rules, discussed the rules, checked out the forums, and got a really good feel for how the game's supposed to be played, including this game, in that same list of other 3 games that I mentioned. And the games grew, the games felt better, the games felt good, the games felt like they were flowing a lot. And it's a really great thing because it meant that this game that I've heard a lot of people say good things about actually matched the reality of what I played. Bomb Busters, same thing happened. World Order, same thing happened. And also on After the Virus, same thing happened. So my initial impression of this game was not very great, but my impression has gotten better once I played the rules correctly, which is kind of a given. And then on top of that, I really like the decision space this game gives you, because you're having this resource conversion palooza going on, where you're trying to convert this into this, and you're trying to convert that into that, and you're trying to get these things so you can try to pay for this, and then try to have enough to survive to do this, and the negative things show up, so it's like, oh my gosh, that ruined my entire plans. Sometimes the bot just steps right on top of your, punches your cake. Wow, I don't even know if that's a phrase. Sometimes the bot just comes in and just tosses your puzzle off the table and just screams at you loudly, and you're like, why did you do that? But I think that's kind of the part of the game. Like, it's kind of one of those games where you want to try to get where you need to get most importantly first. Do that first, prioritize those things, and kind of choose, okay, I have this many resources. Do I have enough to do this first and then this? Or do I need to do this first and prepare for next round? And I like that a lot. Like this game, again, grew for me as I learned the rules correctly, which, again, is a given. I know, it's a given. Skill issue, call it what you want. But I'm mentioning it because I think that I think that this is a game that could be off-putting for some people initially, not flowing to the negatives, but it could be off-putting to some people initially because it seems like a lot of interconnected things. And yes, there are a lot of interconnected things, but it's as simple as take your dice from when you assigned it, place it into the spot, do the thing, and that's pretty much it. It's like a sequence of micro turns before you have this one big macro turn every round. And I think especially in a multiplayer game, which I haven't had the luxury to play with a multiplayer game yet. I've only played against a bot, but I've seen people play on some watch it played videos, and not watch it played, but some videos where people were doing a playthrough of it, and hearing some of the interactions, like people react, it's like, you took the thing I wanted, or oh no, the thing that happened, you negotiated the person I wanted to, how dare you, or even effects like this, when you negotiate with the giant man, oof, that's gonna kill me. The Jarek, yeah, there you go. When you negotiate with the Jarek, you will flip over one of his caches to reveal it to the entire table on this side, and on the other side, you get to peek at two secretly and not tell anybody what they are. So these kind of things are really dynamic because it reveals information to the entire table for this one specifically, because that these things are it's a bunch of victory points right there. Remember, these go from 4 to 8. So this is a ton of victory points that you can gain. So now everybody's going to be just trying to crowd over here and trying to jump on that spot before everybody else does. So it adds a lot of interest to the game and a lot of conflict to the game naturally because, again, you're stepping on each other's toes. There's limited space out here. There's just enough space for everybody to do one thing, really. And you got to determine, okay, is it more important for me to take this spot first so I can get the resources to do this thing over here? Or do I need to just go Hail Mary, spend everything I can to try to do the spot over here so they don't take it from me, and then try to recover later? So I think it gives you like a lot of really good back and forth. And the game continues to make you think about it. And again, I mentioned those games earlier because those are games that kind of grew on me as I got the rules more and more correct and played them more and more. But, inability to read a rulebook and properly aside, the primary reason why I'm bringing up those games is because those games do have that same feeling this one does, where like after you finish playing, you're still thinking about it. You're still thinking about, hey, with Bomb Busters, what if I did this instead? What if I did that? With World Order, you're thinking, oh my gosh, what if I try this strategy? What if I try this thing, or maybe do this approach? Or what if they did this and I reacted that way? With After the Virus, it's the same concept. Like, okay, let me try to like cycle through the deck and try to build these things. And for this one, it's like, okay, what if I went for like a building heavy strat early and maybe try to get some cards like this out that will really help reduce a cost, and then just try to build upon that as I go and snowball forward. Or maybe I just ignore that completely and just try to go like get this, and get all those immediately, string myself out with resources, and then try to survive for the rest of the game and see if that's enough points to win. And you can get a lot of good benefits from doing that. I mean, these benefits over here are pretty good. You get a free ship. On this one, you get a free farm on that one. You get a free movement on your little reticle for this one. And of course, the consequences do show up. So if everybody's trying to rush the board over here, trying to bum rush into the board, you will have more negatives that show up faster. So you do have to be careful about that. Try to balance, okay, do I want to do this or do I want to do that? Actually, let me be more specific. One game where I played offline, I had a dice value of 1, or I had a dice value of 2, but the bot put a dice value of 6 here first. So that meant that, okay, I had to decide. Do I want to go ahead and put my dice value of 2 here, which 2 plus 6 is 8, because there were no other dice in the column beforehand, which means that I will have to deal with a consequence, which I didn't want to deal with. Or do I wait around to try to get a 1 to try to sneak it in there? And I ultimately decided to do the wait around to sneak a 1 in there, and it really altered my plans drastically for that round. I think that's the right word. It altered my plans really greatly for that round, and ultimately, the payout wasn't really worth it. Waiting one whole round, delaying by one whole round. I was able to get a 1 to put in that spot, but it all boiled down to like it just kind of altered my decisions completely because I had my whole turn kind of planned out. These dice have to go from left to right. They must go from left to right. As in, if this is my one I was going to put first, and then this, but all of a sudden something happened, and I want to do this one first. Too bad. I'm stuck. I'm locked in with what I got. I got to make what I have work. And it just kind of puts you into like this really interesting like solving a puzzle space. This is no longer an ideal puzzle because something happened. Like maybe I wanted to go to the foundry and they took the foundry before I could get it. Oh shoot! What am I gonna do? Maybe something happened over here where I was planning on getting this spot, but the bot decided to put their 5 here first. So now I can't get my free move that I was counting on last round. And you have these situations that kind of pop up over time that really force you to adapt to the puzzle. And I think it's a really clever way to make it happen because there's so many other options that you can always have something to do. Even if you have no resources, you always have something that you can try to do. You always have something somewhere you can try to go. There's even a spot on your board if you really need it to put a die here to get 2 extra water. I mean, hopefully you never need it, you know. If bless your soul if you actually need to use that spot, but it is a game that gives you like a lot of space to kind of try different things, try different approaches. You can even try a strategy where maybe one round you just send like a bunch of dice over here to the headquarters, so that way you have first pick on everything for next round. And it doesn't help you now, but it might help you later, especially with situations like this where I wanted to put something over here in the depository. But because of this card that showed up that basically said I had to throw away a card to put it down here in the depository, maybe I want to delay and just put it up here to gain a bunch of water and a few extra cards. So that way next time around, I'll have the ability to kind of just toss everything into the depository, build what I want to build anyway, and just make sure I have the resources that I need to support that. So anyway, really cool game, really fun puzzle. I like a lot of things about this game. And I think this is definitely one of those games that even if you play it like, you know, 15, 20 times, you can always find something else that's going to be coming out differently. You might end up kind of sliding into a few different strats that you might want to try, but with the variety that you get with this game coming from just the base game, which I had the base game plus the expansion of specialists in here, so I don't know which ones are which, but you have a lot of different characters that give you a lot of different looks and different abilities. Like for instance, you have Borg, is it Bjorg? I think it's Bjorg. Bjorgensal, who I was playing with this game, that gave me the extra little die to use. You have other characters like Zoe Ashford here. When fulfilling a contract, you may also pay to fulfill a second contract, so you can do 2 with 1. When you go to the depository, you have Renzo, Nolan, so reveal a second event in rounds 1 through 6 and use your title. Use your title to indicate which event you will apply. So it's like it just gives you like some really broken stuff character-wise. And it sounds crazy, it sounds super broken, but once you compare your broken ability of having an extra free die every time, plus somebody else's extra ability to having like this one, gain 1 gem when you negotiate with Alzar, or 3 water when the opponents do so. And I think that's one of the expansion ones. This is an expansion character. But it's just really cool because it gives you like this ability to have, I don't know, it just gives you this ability to kind of have a very varied game, a very varied game from game to game. You can change it up just by changing your character. You can have a whole different strat just because of that. Given how aggressively your opponents might play or how passively your opponents might play, it might change your game. Given how these show up, it might change your game. There's a lot of variety. There's a lot of changing here. And I appreciate the amount of variety here. And again, I already had the expansion for the specials expansion, so I have even more variety on top of that. But it just feels like a nice, you know, wide breadth of space for me to kind of adventure in and see if I can get different strategies and try different things and try different approaches. And maybe I do like a full negotiation. I ignore everything except for what I need to get resources and just negotiate. Maybe I go super hardcore and collecting a ton of resources and try to build contract cards that give me extra points per resource that I have left over. You know, there's just so many cool things, so many different paths, and I appreciate that greatly. So, yeah, great things. All right, on to the things I don't like about this game. I think this game is very, very... I don't know, depending on, like, from game to game, when I did my playthrough video, I very much had a headache at the end of it. That's not to say that I had a headache before when I was doing my playthroughs offline, but my playthroughs offline, you know, it's kind of like passively watching TV, checking out the rulebook, watching videos of other people playing the game, make sure I got the right rules correct, and, you know, still missing a few rules here and there. I corrected them during my playthrough, thankfully. And check out the comments as well if you see any, to see if there's any other rules, mistakes that you might see in my playthrough or even in this video here. But while I was kind of passively playing the game, I didn't, like, you know, burn my brain. But when I did narrating the whole thing, what I'm doing, what I'm planning for, explaining why I'm trying to do a thing, trying to remember, okay, what was I trying to do, and trying to figure out what the bot's trying to do, and trying to do that. Between all that, I ended up getting a headache. Maybe it's just the time of the night. I didn't drink enough water. I don't know what it is. But it's fine. I survived. So I think this game is definitely a brain burner. I think if I had to compare this game to a few other puzzles, I think this is more of a Calico than it is a Cascadia or than it is a Shallow Sea, and that's not necessarily a compliment. Calico is one of those games to where when I remember playing it, from what I recall playing, it's like a very brain burnery puzzle. If you want to get everything all of your goals in Calico, then you really gotta like lock in and like focus on, okay, this needs to overlap with this way, and then this needs to go here like that, and this needs to be positioned there. Otherwise, I'm going to lose all of them. And that really ends up being like a hard puzzle to try to solve, especially to play casually. And again, I was never a huge Calico fan to begin with. I thought it was an okay game. And Shallow Sea completely replaced Calico for me personally, if you check out my review for that. But what I'm ultimately trying to say is that brain burneriness could be something as a detractor for the game, because it means it's a little bit harder to kind of just throw this game on the table and sit down and play and enjoy it. Yes, I want to win, so I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's the best strategy? I have AP at times, and it could be even worse in situations like this, to where I got to choose the specific order that it goes in. I got to choose if I want to put it down here or up there, and then I'm locked in afterwards. So now I was like, oh man, I locked in on the wrong things. Shoot, I should have switched these two, but I can't. So now I got to figure, okay, what the heck am I going to do with this now? This is going to hose me completely. And it just ends up being one of those, like, this is a very specific kind of puzzle. And it's because of that, this may not be an attractive game for a lot of people, is what I'm trying to say. I think it's a really cool thing it's bringing along to the table. I just don't think it's going to be a good game for a lot of people. And I'm really worried about that, especially with some of my friends in my gamer group. A lot of my friends in my gamer group are probably like, going to be fans of this one. So I'm looking forward to introducing this to them. However, there are some people who are like, this is a little bit too restrictive. And I agree. This is a little bit too restrictive. And also, I would like to point out a thing. This game is a programming game. And that might be why I'm having a little bit of hesitancy trying to have the puzzle kind of fit my brain. Because it wasn't until I kind of thought about it more as a programming game that it really kind of clicked upon me, or dawned upon me, it's okay, there's going to be disaster. When I play a programming game, which the only programming game I can kind of speak to me playing that I actively remember playing would be Mechs vs. Minions, the League of Legends board game. And in that game, it's a programming game, and you should expect chaos at a certain point. At a certain point, you got a plan, you're doing this, and then you're going to do this, and your ally is going to do that, your ally is going to do that. Something happens, changes it completely, you miscounted, you're supposed to move 2 spaces, but you only played a card that moved you 1 space when you thought you were going to move 2, and then you just miss everything. That just happens in those kind of games. And going into this game thinking of it as a programming game for me personally, not saying that you should think of it this way, but for me personally, that helps me prepare a little bit more for the game, because I know that, yes, I'm going to have this trigger first, and then this is going to trigger, and then this is going to trigger, and those things have specific spots, as in I need this to trigger here specifically. Shoot, my program is now screwed. Okay. How do I resolve this? Because I don't have enough money to do everything. So let me move this over here instead. And man, now I'm broke on the water. Shoot. So you kind of had like this whole disaster waiting to happen, because this game is a programming game. From the perspective, you're trying to set your dice, and they go from left to right, and they're executed exactly how you place them, and you got to figure it out at that point. And I think that's definitely something that's a detractor for me personally. I don't know if it's going to be a detractor for you, but if you don't like programming games, you might find this game a little bit hard to contend with. I'm not a fan of programming games. I can play a programming game. I just got to know it's a programming game beforehand. And I think that this game does not advertise itself as a programming game, nor do I think it should. I think this game is it's programming adjacent. This has concepts of programming in it, because you're setting your dice in a certain way, and then you have the activations that happen in certain orders. So I guess by definition it's a programming game. But I think for me personally, that's a negative. And like I said before, as long as I know it beforehand, I'm okay with it. It's just when I was first playing this game, I was like, okay, what's happening? Why is my plan falling apart? I was like, oh, it's a programming game. Shoot. I'm terrible at long-term planning. That's why. So it kind of just feeds back into that loop. So knowing that ahead of time, it can definitely be mitigated and definitely be avoided as far as a negative. But I will say that, for me personally, that ends up being on the negative side. One last negative I'll throw into this one is that this game, I kept saying it earlier that this game is kind of a resource conversion game. I don't know how I feel about resource conversion games anymore. I don't know if I played a heavy resource conversion game recently. This may be the most recent one I can think of. But even if I'm just looking at my shelves to try to see if there's another resource. I guess Senkori is another one. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just standing up in my chair here. I can't think of any other resource conversion games that I played recently. Clans of Caledonia is technically one. Fields of Arl, sure. I guess Fields of Arl is a resource conversion game. It's not too bad. I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know if I'm as big of a fan of resource conversion games nowadays as I might have been in the past. But as I was gonna say that sentence out loud, I couldn't think of any resource conversion games until I stood up. But again, like something like Clans of Caledonia, something like I don't think Ezra and Nehemiah is a resource conversion. 51st State, that's definitely a resource conversion game. Something like those are okay. It's just sometimes I don't know. something about the stress of being short by one resource to do anything at all really doesn't feel good. And I think for me personally, it's a negative. For you, it might just be, just kind of something that comes with the territory, fine. But for me personally, a resource conversion game on this level, to where you kind of have to plan as far ahead as you need to, with programming plus resource conversion, it's like, my gosh, can I have one struggle? Why are you sending me your hardest challenges? Is kind of the primary question. So I'm putting into the negative category. It's a slight negative because, I mean, resource conversion, again, just like programming, is okay for me. I'm more of a fan of resource conversion games than I am of programming games. And by that, what I mean is that specifically this, like converting, this into that, and then, maybe converting that into that, and then doing it this many times. So how many times? Okay, I want to convert all these into these, so I need 3, so I'm going to get 12 of these, or actually, no, let me take it back. I need 8 of these, and 2, no, wait, I need 1 of these left. And like that whole, doing like accounting doesn't feel good sometimes in the middle of a game, because I thought I had it planned out, and then I forgot what my plan was, and now I got to refigure it out. It's like, now I'm doing like freaking algebra in my head, and it's like, this is crazy. So, resource conversion, maybe a genre I'm starting to move away from personally, but I do think it's enjoyable. I do think it's executed well. It's just a little frustrating sometimes when it's like, why can't I get more water? I need 2 more water to do my plan. Game, give me 2 more water. And the reality is that you should plan better. Really, it's just, kind of get good. A skill issue, if you will. But jokes aside, and self-deprecating humor aside, this is a game that really rewards planning. So the better you are at long-term planning, the better you'll kind of feel about the game, and that can sometimes not be a great hit for me, especially when the mechanics aren't triggering just yet for my brain. So there you go. That's my last little negative there. As far as my rating for the game, though, my rating for the game definitely sits pretty high. So I'm sitting at a 7.5 out of 10 on this one, which I think is a pretty good score for this game overall. I think the rating on Board Game Geek, I think it's a 7.8. Let me double check, because I think I just had it up here. Sorry, I didn't mean to go completely silent there. But Circadians First Light has a 7.5. Yeah, okay, so 7.5. I would give it exactly that. That's exactly a great score. Because I feel like what the game gives you in variety is really good. And even though you're kind of doing the same kind of engine, you're churning the same machine the whole time, I do think it's really fun to kind of explore in this space, and it gives you a lot of decision space to say, okay, let me try this, and you can kind of pivot to this and say, okay, when should I pivot to this, or should I just kind of stay on the straight and narrow and stay on this plan? And that feels really fun, especially when things work out. Even if things don't work out, it just feels really fun sometimes to see how you recovered. How did you react? How did you, pivot to kind of do a little bit better? How did you go back to your original plan? And did you succeed? And when you get to the final scoring, it does end up being a point salad situation, so nobody really knows who's winning. But you can definitely have a good idea based on who got to do how many actions and who has how many dice over here. Like if you have a bunch of dice over here, you probably won. But sometimes it can sneak up on you. Some people get some really good card combinations that can just take you out completely. So I don't know. I think overall 7.5 out of 10 sounds like a really fair score for this one. I don't want to say I see a lot of latitude for this one to go up to like an 8 out of 10 for me personally. 7.5 just sounds like the correct number. I don't know. Not too high, not too low, just right type situation. So take that how you will. But for me, 7.5 out of 10 for this game is going to be definitely a keep on my shelf for a long while. I'm looking forward to trying to introduce this to some of my friends to kind of see how they react to it and what they think about it, because I know what my feelings are. And I'm also looking forward to exploring more of the different leaders, or more of the different cards here for the characters, because I played all my games with Bjorg and Sal in every single game that I played so far, and I've been having a lot of fun with them, even though I've been churning out whatever points I have. I've definitely gotten a lot better. You can see here I was using Sal right there pretty efficiently. Throw him over there, give me a few little points, give me a few little gems, set myself up for next turn, give me some extra trades over here, doing some cool stuff. But ultimately, the other characters, they have really cool powers, and I'm really looking forward to exploring those. And there's a whole expansion I haven't even seen yet, like the specials expansion. I haven't even dug into that yet. I'm excited to figure out what that's all about. I'm hoping that's going to maybe give you a little bit more flexibility on some stuff. Maybe not. I don't know. I think I saw a whole new board in there, so looking forward to that. And also expands the negotiation board by a little bit. So, hey, I'm all for adding a few more things, maybe making the game last a little bit longer. Not too much longer, though. I think the game's a good length. So, yeah. Overall, lots of things to look forward to for this game. I do think it's a fine game, and I do think it's a game that I could definitely recommend. Oh, I will say, I did have the first edition. I did have the first edition of this game, and then I went out and bought the second edition because I saw some of the quality of life things that I added, and it also added in the characters from the first expansion, which was First Contact. What was the name of the first expansion? I don't know. I have it somewhere on my shelf. But it added those characters. Oh, the Alliance. I think it's the Alliance, something like that. But it added all those characters into the base game, and it gave me more space for the expansions. So I got that second edition after I played the first edition, and I kind of enjoyed the experience I was starting to see, despite the fact that I played the rules wrong, despite the fact that I got some frustrations in there. Once I started learning the rules correctly, I was like, oh, I like what's happening here. So I got the second edition, and I do think it's worth getting the second edition. First edition is cool if you can find it for like $20 with everything, but honestly, second edition is where it's at. Like these bigger bits, these are nice. I mean, yeah, it's something very small, but having like the matching bits here for like big water, small water, as opposed to the cards that the first edition used, and also just having, I don't know, the artwork on the second edition feels better. I don't think it looks that much better, but I know it feels better. And also the way that they split up the board over here feels a lot better. Because I know in that first edition, part of my frustration was I didn't understand that these are two different areas on one board. That was very confusing to me. But once I figured that out after my first playthrough, because I watched the video afterwards. I was like, what's happening? I don't understand this. Once I watched the video on like my first playthrough of like how to play, at least, just get a little bit of peek into it, it made a lot more sense. I was like, oh, these are two separate boards. Oh my gosh, I'm such a scrub. And I don't have my first edition anymore. I gave it away to a friend, and they're going to hopefully enjoy it, and I'll play with them. But what I'm trying to say is that second edition, I think, is worth getting. If you have the first edition and you like the game a lot, just get the second edition. If you have the first edition and you're kind of on the fence, like it's kind of a meh game for you, I don't think it's worth getting the second edition. I do think the second edition gives you enough quality of life things, though, that if you think the game is reasonable, go ahead and get the second edition if you can spare the change. But if the game was meh, or the game kind of fell flat for you, don't worry about it. It's keep the first edition, you'll be fine. You're not missing anything. Okay, all right. So that is all I had to say about this game, though. So please let me know what you guys think of the game in the comments. I think it's a fine game. I'll definitely play it again. I'm looking forward to having more experiences with the bots here, and also having the experience with my friends to kind of see how this game really pans out in multiplayer. I suppose you can call this a review for solo, but I feel like this the bot here gives a very good feel for how a multiplayer version of this game works. And also, I played other games like this multiplayer. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Not said it out loud, but basically you kind of steal those spots. Like it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same thing as playing with the bot, virtually speaking. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you all very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you all whenever.